Good morning, dear community. We would like to welcome everyone to the day of mindfulness. And today we have a session of question and answer. And before we begin, I invite us to enjoy three sounds of the bell. And just allow the sound of the bell to bring us back to this present moment. Enjoy our breathing and bring our attention to the body and the space here, and we breathe together as a collective body and aware the Sangha is around, and so just enjoy your breathing. So dear community, before we begin asking questions, I would like to introduce the panel up here. And next to me is Sister Duyệt Nghiem. And she can go by or as Sister Joy. It's easier to remember, Sister Joy. And next to her is Sister Đai Luc. And she can go by Sister Palm Leaf. And on the far side is Brother Đao Quy. And he can go by Brother Turtle somehow. His name can be, it's a Chinese, Vietnamese, like turtle. But it has another meaning. And myself is Brother Đai Luc. And you can remember as Brother Strength. And today we are up here to receive question, and we will try our best to answer. And for the question and answer question, we invite you to ask questions that relate to your joy, your happiness, but also your suffering or challenges in life. In our life of practice, sometimes we practice, but we have some question, or you reach a point where you might need some, guidance or some suggestion. And so we invite you to come up one by one, and you sit at that hot seat over there. But before you ask your question, we invite you to breathe with us and with the sound of bell. And after that, you will take the microphone, and then you can ask your question. And again, a good question doesn't have to be very long. It also benefits people if you ask a good question. Sometimes your situation can relate to other people that have go through similar situation. So a good question can benefit not just ourselves, but also other. And because we don't have a lot of time, so maybe try not to ask questions that is intellectual or information that even sometimes as human monastic we don't remember everything. You can go to Google, find a question, that is like with information, and you can find there. So that is the format. And if you don't feel like come up here and ask your question, you can write on a piece of paper, and you can pass to maybe the bell master, and then we can take one or two if we have time to answer your question. And so with that, I invite anyone who courageous enough or feel like you're ready to ask a question. So we invite you to come up here. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm not particularly a practitioner of Buddhism, but the principles and the ideas interest me because I grew up with a religious framework that focused more on Hindu philosophy and principles, and the idea of karma and dharma is familiar to me. My question, I think, relates to dharma, and in my life, my idea of purpose really relates to I want to serve and be of service. And in my chosen profession, my chosen profession being public service in government, which is what I want to go into, I'm a student now, and I see many injustices and things which anger me and make me want to get involved now. But I also know that if I stay in college and stay in training and get like a master's degree, I can perhaps help more people. But if I start helping now, I can also build up that same credentials, those same credentials. Is it more beneficial to start helping now or to wait, is my question.
So I invite our brother or sister who can answer this question.
So, dear respected Thai, dear brothers, dear sisters, dear community, thank you for your question. When I listen to your question, I imagine it to the brothers and sisters who had been ordained when they was very young. You know, in Vietnam, some monks, they call it baby monk or baby nuns. They was ordained when like 5 or 4 or 6 years old, even though like 10 years old. We think that when they was young like that, they cannot help. But actually, when they live in the monastery, they help a lot, but they don't know. And slowly they grow up, and they can help more. But each person, each people in the universe, in the community, have their own role to help the environment around them. And you can relate it to your situation, that maybe you think that you cannot help right now as a student, but actually you can help a lot if you have the inner peace, have the daily practice, and you have some inner strength inside, and you can help. You can help yourself. First of all, you need to help yourself, and then the people around you can benefit from your energy. Yeah. And with that energy, you can benefit the student and the teacher and the whole universe, right? University that you stay on and learn. And for me, if you actually, if we have more knowledge, we can reach out in many aspects of life. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that for people who have a lot of knowledge can be helpful in many ways, because some of them may do something that harm people. And if we, I just said the few. If we learn history, we also know about that. So it depends on the way we live. It depends on our purpose of life, and it also depends on the environment that you benefit from. So you can think about that more, and if it is possible, if you're interested in the practice, you can start to build a group of people that you can help each other and remind each other in the practice, in the way that we are living, so it can help more. You can start it now. Yeah, and that kind of living, that kind of energy can spread out in the world day by day. So I hope that will help a little bit. Yeah, thank you.
So, dear friend, I just want to ask something that I think that service or not service is not a problem, but the main thing is we try to have a joy, happiness in ourselves when we do that. Even we do that, but we don't have a joy or happiness, so it's not good. And one more thing is we can arrange our time for that, so we don't feel so stressful or too busy for that. Yeah. One more thing that Vietnamese people, we have a sentence like the little child can help for the small thing. Yeah. So even the little child, they can help their parent, and the offering and generosity always bring joy and happy for the other people. So, and once you give that, the other people can have joy, and you too. So so I just want to encourage you try to do something, even a little thing. And I remember when I was a student in the university, I tried to do something like go to the far area to help out the poor people, or offering them the medication or some consultation, something like that. And until now, I still remember that moment. It's very joyful and nourishing for myself. Yeah, I don't know how about them, but until now, more than 20 years, is still very joyful and nourishing for me. So, yeah, just a little add. Thank you.
Hi. I guess my question is, in more recent walking meditations, I have gone through a couple different gathas while I've been walking, and one of the ones that I frequently fall back onto is breathing in, I have arrived, breathing out, I am home, in the here and in the now. And the more I walked with that, and the more I, tried to incorporate that into my steps and into my breath, the more I actually started to question it. To what is it to have arrived, and what is it to be home, truly home? And I guess I was kind of recently struggling with that in my walking meditation. So that's my question. Of what is arriving and what is being home.
Dear respected teacher, thank you for the bell. I really needed that. Dear community, so our friend Timothy here, he stayed with us during our 3-month rains retreat. He stayed for 2 months out of the 3, and it was his first time ever at the monastery. And over the 2 months, having the opportunity to see Timothy's blooming as a flower, if you will, was very beautiful. I remember when he first arrived, and when he left, the difference was very clear. I remember the final days before he left, his eyes were very bright, and there was a little sparkle in his eyes, and that sparkle wasn't really there when he first arrived. So, being witness to all of this is, I have a lot of gratitude for that and for his presence. To answer the question, in our practice, we have a mantra that we recite to ourselves. And the mantra is also the meditation and the insight in itself.
the mantra is, I have arrived, I am home. With the in-breath, I have arrived. With the out-breath, I am home. And so our teacher teaches that this physical body is our first home. And when we are not here, when we are not present for this physical body, we are not here, our body is like an empty home. And when our home is empty, you have burglars, winds, you have all sorts of things happen to the home and inside the home, but you don't have sovereignty over the home. And so with an in-breath and an out-breath, or with a gentle step, I have arrived, and another step, I am home, you come back to this body and you reclaim this ground, you reclaim this home that has been yours and has also been your ancestors and also your descendants, your future generations and our previous generations, our ancestors. Suddenly we become the master of our home, and we are no longer neglecting this sacred space. And so that is the first home, the physical body. Sometimes in life we are so busy, we're running towards something, an appointment in the future, projects, or we're running away from maybe some mistreatment that we've done to our bodies. Like I myself, I know that growing up as a high schooler, I was very harsh on my body. I grew up in a very much a testosterone-driven environment, and we were pushed to lift heavy weights, and we were pushed to compete with each other in this way. And I hurt myself a lot. And so sometimes when the pain is too much, I run away. Maybe with food, with television, films, music. But there is a crying baby inside asking for my return to embrace. And so returning to our home is returning to that sacred space, that temple, and take care of our ancestors and take care of our descendants at the same time, and ourselves. During the practice of walking meditation, when you take maybe 3 steps and you breathe in and you recite, I have arrived, and with the out-breath you take maybe 4 steps and you recite, I am home, suddenly you are a free person. You walk as a free person. We are no longer enslaved by ideas and fears of the future. For sure, the future is stressful. There's no way that we can deny that fact. Our responsibility is to make ourselves to be the best that we can be in this moment, so that we can deal with the present and the future, knowing that there are stressful events that will arise in life. And so you become free and you develop your solidity with each step, with each breath. And suddenly you also become free of your past. For sure, in the past, I know that I've made many mistakes. I've said many wrong things, I've done many wrong things. And they continue to remanifest in my heart, in my mind, out of regret. And I wish I could go back and not have said that or not have done that to him, to her, to my father, to my mother. But that past is only a projection, and it is not the real past. The real past is also present in the physical body, in the mind, in this present moment. It exists as tension in the body. Our trauma leaves behind its mark as tension in the body, tension in the organs, sicknesses in the body. And so returning to the home, returning to the now, returning to the present moment is suddenly becoming free of all of that vicious cycle and developing, excuse me, my lips are a bit dry, developing for oneself a resilience so that we know how to take care of the past and the future, to heal the past and to prepare ourselves for the future. And to do that is to take care of the present moment by arriving and being home whenever we remember to. Our teacher usually says good luck, so I would like to end with good luck. Good luck, Tim.
Hi. My question is, I came here to this country, leaving behind war, a lot of trauma, a lot of things. And then when I came here, I looked straight ahead and was like, I'm gonna do this, that. I'm gonna achieve this, I'm gonna achieve that. I'm gonna become this, I'm gonna become a doctor. I'm gonna do this, you know? And I'm very new to the practice, partially because I arrived at a place where all those things are meaningless. And I've reached the conclusion that I need to go back and own it, own that part of me when I was younger and the stuff I went through. The violence in the home, the violence in society, the impact of immigrating to this country when I was very young. And my question is, I'm very excited. I'm crying because I'm just emotional. Because I went through years of a lot of things, and this is the first time I feel like this is something that's gonna help me. But my concern is, how in do you go without falling apart? How can I, moving forward, continue the practice, continue on this road to befriending my past, my childhood, but still maintaining to a certain, I'm gonna change a lot of things, but how can I incorporate that, incorporate this, and move forward and slowly, you know, not fall apart, but just come to acceptance of what was, and then move forward. I hope that makes sense.
Dear Thầy, dear community, I guess it's my turn. Our brothers and sisters have already answered, so I will try. And thank you for your question. And I think many of us can relate to your situation. And I'm myself also an immigrant and escaped my country and also experienced not so much, but somewhat some pain. And but if we really look around each of us, we live in life, we grow up, and we journey through life, and there's a time when we will encounter challenges and hurt and pain, and that's just very natural. And the first thing is to recognize that we're not alone. So we accept that, and it makes us feel better. And then also, since I become monastic or encounter practice, I learned to return home, like our brother just shared. Very important to aware of what's happening in our body and our mind, and learn to take care of it slowly. If not, time go by, it accumulates, and that pain may grow bigger, and it's not healed. And our teacher have taught us, and I really like this. And he said that you know, our body have a physical pain, and one way to heal it, to take care of it, is to we can do ourselves. Or if we don't know how to treat it, sometimes we go to physician or you know, the professional, like acupuncturist or like the pressure point. So you know, to relieve the pain, so we need to massage, to take care of it, and to let the blood flow, so that once the blood flow, the body can begin to work and to heal. And our mind or mental aspect, also our past. We also need to practice to take care, to embrace of that, and to help shining light to see what's going on, so we'll be able to practice, to change our way of living, of our action, the way we think, the way we speak, so that the mind and body to learn to change the habit, because there have to be a habit or something or condition that lead to that. So we need to be aware. And so first, sometimes like our brothers share that the pain is so much we don't want to return or to touch it. We run away. We find something to cover up. But with the practice, it encourages us, or equip us with something that we can be strong or brave, to maybe take time to look at it slowly, not like right away. I see you, and then, you know, I hold it, the weight too much. Maybe slowly. And here we have the practice of mindfulness in the mindful breathing, when we do sitting meditation, or mindful walking, or eating, or relax. And we can start with that, you know, to establish ourselves, return to the body, our first home, and relax it and ease it. And once you learn to slow down, learn to stop, and then you feel relaxed and you have some solidity. And when you have the solidity or strength, and say, okay, now I have space to look at, you know, something in there, maybe my past, like an experience that can cause us pain. Like we all, might have a fear or worry about one day I will get old, and I'm not beautiful anymore, not handsome anymore. Some might have that, and then one day I will get sick, and then one day I will continue my ancestor, I will pass away, and that is the fact, right? You look around, no one have never gone through that. So suppose you have that fear of pain. So you breathe in, I know that one day I will get old. So at least you accept that, say, okay, everybody get old. So you bring that awareness, and slowly that fear have been aware and embraced. And then you smile to it. And that's just the fact, the truth. And then one day I will pass away. And that's the truth. I cannot escape because, everyone has gone through. And you breathe and you say, breathing in, I know one day I will pass away and I cannot escape death. But I learn to live wholeheartedly and fulfilledly with purpose in life so that I can be, beneficial to myself and others. So with all of that, right thinking and reflection, suddenly you bring mindfulness into that fear of the pain. So the same thing I encourage you maybe to apply the practice. Maybe you knew, so sometime alone we don't have, encouragement or someone to remind. Maybe I encourage you to find a sangha or a group that you can relate to, resonate in your heart, that you think that they can, give you some support to journey in this, spiritual practice or some practice, so that you can build up your foundation, your strength, and then we start, taking care of our body, and then taking care of our mental aspect of our mind. And then when you're ready, then you slowly work with that, and then you transform maybe the pain. And through the path of practice, slowly, if you continue that, practices, it slowly build up your strength. And then it will give you more concentration and more insight, and then your mind be more clear. And you will see even the past better. You see why it's happening, why. And am I, the victim of this, or, am I responsible for it? It might not be just you. You don't have to hold that burden. It might be just a collective, burden that we have to go through. And we don't have to do alone to take care of that, And so first we have to take care of ourselves, and then find a community, and then build our strength, and then work slowly. You don't have to work right away, because you might fall apart, like you share, might be compassionate burnout. We're young, we want to help, but we don't equip ourselves with enough strength and enough practices that we can rejuvenate ourselves. And so we might fall apart, and then we give up our aspiration, and we're not, courageous enough to continue on that healing, the path of healing and transformation. So that is what in my mind, and I like to share with you. And just be patient. And I think once you put your mind to it and dedication, I think you can do it, and healing can take place. Yeah, so thank you so much. And, so dear friend, let us listen to one sound of bell, and we have 2 questions from online, and we will try to answer that. So dear community, we have 3 questions. And I would like to respect the first one sent in. And the question is from our friend named Kumbaba. And her question is, in sitting meditation, I often experience a tingle or energy current up my spine when I practice generating joy and happiness. Should I just observe this current, or is it okay to manipulate it?
Dear Sangha, dear friend, thank you for sending in your question. I'd like to offer one perspective or one standpoint, which is when we're practicing sitting meditation and we feel a tingle go up our spine, perhaps our sitting posture is not correct. And it might be a pinched nerve. And I say this with a lot of love and a lot of care, because I want you to enjoy your sitting and enjoy your meditation, and I don't want you to be impaired by something that may seem to be perhaps some sort of spiritual attainment on the path of meditation, when actually it might just be something that can be alleviated or should be addressed. And I share this because I have suffered with a pinched nerve before, and it came through the unhealthy weightlifting that I experienced when I was 17. And so now, if I'm sitting in a certain posture that my back is not happy with, I'll feel a numbing or a tingling sensation run up my spine or down my leg. And so I take care of that with a lot of yoga and a lot of stretching. So please be careful with this. In our practice of meditation, the sake of meditation is for the purpose of returning to what is happening within us and what is happening outside of us. And so it is not to be carried away by almost metaphysical or otherworldly or outside of the body experiences. To recognize what is there. Mindfulness allows us to do that. Meditation allows us to do that. Maybe I have a pinched nerve. When I come back to my breathing, my mindfulness is there. I recognize there is a pain there or there is a tingling there. I need to go to the chiropractor. And if you're doing that, if you're practicing this way, the practice is correct. If I breathe in and I breathe out and I'm aware that perhaps my lips are parched or I feel a little bit thirsty, that means I need to drink a glass of water. The practice is for recognizing what needs to be addressed, not for not for something that will draw us or pull us away from what is tangible, what is here, what is felt. So that is my just my 2 cents. Perhaps my sister here, actually, she was a doctor before becoming a monastic, so she may want to offer another more professional standpoint.
So thank you, Brother Đao Quy, for education me. So I try to give my thinking and understanding about that question. For me, sitting meditation, the spirit of sitting meditation is mere recognition. So I try to observe what is happening in me and around me at that moment when I'm sitting. Whether my body is heavy or light, is it relaxed enough or so tense, and whether my mind is so anxious or peaceful, or whatever happens in my mind and my body, I try to recognize it as it is. And I think situation when you experience a tingle or energy curling up in your spine is very good too. I think it's very good too. I think when you sit and you breathe correctly, so the air flow fluently in your body, and you can feel the air flow like that. And maybe when we sit and we breathe correctly, we can feel that our body warm up and very relaxed, and our mind very calm and peaceful. So it's good. It's good too. But as our brothers share, we don't try to grasp it, to look for it, to wait for it, because once we experience that, we feel very joyful and we like it very much. And the next time we try to find it, to look for it again. And so it's not the spirit of sitting meditation anymore. When we try to look for something, to wait for something. So we just let it come, and we just recognize it, what is in us at that moment, and we just let it go. Maybe it will come up again and again, and we just recognize again and again like that. And we can feel very important that our mind, we like it, we don't like it, something like that. And why? Maybe if it's come up many times, we try to find out that root. Why it's come up many times like that? Maybe because you have joy and happiness when you sit. So you try to maintain the sitting meditation. And just come back to your breathing. Come back to the state of mind and the state of body. And whatever come up, it's okay. So your situation is one of the object of mind only. So it's not very important for us to just follow up that. Thank you.
So dear community, we have about 10 more minutes. So if you have a question, we might have space for one or two more, okay? So maybe Maria, you raise your hand first, and then after that,
When I experience emotions, I feel them very deeply in my body. I feel tightness in my chest and deep, sometimes I've described it as a void in my stomach. And my question is, when I or you are experiencing, how do you transform suffering that feels so deep and strong that it's all consuming and drowning, that even breath doesn't feel like it can save you from drowning?
So dear respected teacher, dear brothers, dear sisters, dear community, thank you for your question. I think this is a very good question and very true. For me, I think that everybody have their own suffering, and most of us, I don't want to use the word all of us, but most of us have some suffering, and some very deep, and some of our suffering is maybe deep, very deep, that can control our life, control the way we live, and control the direction in our life, and it may direct us in some way that we don't like. I think this is the first noble truth. Suffering is the first noble truth. Yeah, but there is some way that can help us to embrace our suffering. Yeah, but we all know that our body and our mind are not the same, but not different. Yeah. And whatever happened to our body, it also happened to our mind. And whatever happened to our mind will also affect our body. And if we look around and we see happy people, most of them are their health sometimes in the okay condition. I don't want to say that in a good condition, but in okay. But for some people, even though their physical bodies is very good, but if they are unhappy or have some problem with their mind or emotion, and slowly their health, physical health will go down. So we should pay attention to that. And we know that, for example, when we are angry, if we pay attention to our body, we can feel some part of our body is very tense, or our face is turned red or pink, and is it very hard for, sometimes it is very hard for us to breathe. We cannot breathe smoothly. And that is the reason why we need to maintain the daily practice. Yeah, because sometimes we, in our daily life, we don't pay much attention to the small practice, like breathing or eating in silence for a few minutes, or even do walking freely or slowly in a few minutes in a day. We don't pay much attention to that. But when things happen, we don't know what to do. When suddenly we encounter some things, unexpected things, and we get confused at that moment because we don't prepare for our life. We don't prepare everything. So the good thing that we should prepare our life in every moment by the daily practice. That is why whenever we come here, the brothers and sisters always offer the guests the orientation. This is the reminder for us to come back to ourselves, to practice, in order to prepare for our strong moment that happen in our life. And we know that maybe some of our suffering may be passed on to us through our parents. Maybe we don't know. And the best thing to deal with our suffering, that we need to recognize where is our suffering come from. Whenever we can see the root of our suffering, and we can look deeper into it to see. And if we cannot know the root of our suffering, we just go around that, and we cannot get out of that. So if you have time and energy, we can sit down and see where is our suffering come from. Yeah, and we need to look deeply into this to find out the real root. Sometimes we just find the thing around, but the root we cannot find it, because sometimes we don't have enough encourage to face into our root of suffering, because we are afraid of it, and we don't have enough brave, and all out of ignorance. Sometimes we don't accept this is our problem. Yeah. And the more we ignore it, the more it will come up and control our life. So in order to have peace and a peaceful life, whatever happened to our life, we should take time to look deeply into it, to solve it, and to accept it. Yeah. Accepting is sometimes when we find the root of our suffering, we don't accept it. Yeah. But the past that already happened, we cannot control it, but now we know the practice. This is in the present moment, we know the practice. So whenever we can find out the root of our suffering, our real problem, we should learn to love ourselves by accepting our problem. And then by accepting, we can renew it. We can begin anew our life by change some way of living, or do something that build up our future. Yeah, the past we cannot build, we cannot change, but we can live from now on to build up our future in order to have the beautiful past. Because today will become the past of tomorrow. So just do like that, embrace ourselves. Slowly we can embrace and transform our suffering. But the most important thing in order to transform our suffering, that we should have enough joy and happiness and peace right now in order to embrace it. Because we can live our life that the suffering and the happiness and joy should be in balance, or our suffering or our joy and happiness is a little bit higher than our suffering in order to embrace in it. If our suffering is too much, it's more than our peace and happiness, maybe we are in the situation is not okay. So try to do something. At least in every day, we should generate at least 1 or 2 joy and peace moment in order to embrace our suffering. And slowly by that, our suffering will be smaller, will become smaller, and our happiness will blossom like the flower, and it can embrace it. So maybe it can help in some way. Thank you for asking. Thank you for listening.
So, dear friends, I just want to add something. One more thing I want to suggest is for you to practice is total relaxation. Relaxation, yeah. Sometimes we try too much to do something, and it causes more stress in our body and mind. I remember my sister when she first came to Plum Village. She's still very young, and she tried too hard to adapt to that environment. And when she do sitting meditation, she always feel painful somewhere. And she asked me, and I tried to ask her to do that. And I even brought her to the doctor, but I know that she tried too much. So maybe we try to do relaxation when we can. In our practice, myself, I try to relax as much as possible, but keep the inspiration. Keep what make us joyful, happy, and like the practice. Why we like the practice? We keep it to continue every day, but not try too much. And second thing is take your time. Yeah, because the suffering is maybe caused by many elements, and from your ancestor or something. So you need time to discover all of that, and to just bring it up a little by a little, and just watch it, just observe it, and it is there, but don't try to work too much in there. You just recognize it, and you try to nourish the present moment by joy. Yeah, like we have a suffering and joy. So sometimes the suffering is too heavy, and we don't have enough strength to do with that. So we try to raise the joy and happiness, so that the suffering will be released naturally. Then we try too much on that. And one more thing is come back to the Blue Cliff to practice with us. Like you find a Sangha or find a companion to practice in the practice, so that we can share, we can take more your suffering out, and you share, and you can receive some advice. So or just some listening. You just need someone can listen to you. So already relieve the suffering. So don't try to do by yourself much, and try to find out someone, the beauty of the nature here or somewhere, and do what you feel that make you happy. Like traveling or something, whatever you feel that is make you happy, you like to do that. Take the time to do that. Yeah, even in the normal life, you don't used to do that, but now give you a gift for that. Yeah. So thank you.
So dear community, thank you so much for being here and ask your question. And I think our time is up, and we apologize for our friend here, and we wait for next time, and our friends online. And we thank you, our brother and sister, for being here to answer the question. And let us end with the 3 sound the bell. So dear community, let us take a few moments to unfold your leg and give your leg a little massage. Release the tension in the body, taking care of it. And with the next sound of the small bell, we all stand up and bow to each other to offer our gratitude for each other. And then we turn to the altar and bow to the ancestors.